Every small town has a story, and we're here to shine a light on the people, places, and moments that make ours unforgettable. Welcome to the Small Town Bold Stories podcast. On today's episode of the podcast, we sat down with Bethany and Nick Hardesty of Hardesty Farms and Greenhouses. Their operation has grown tremendously over almost 25 years and has seen a lot of growth and changes over that time, from the addition of new members of the family to growing the business and expanding out into new operations, and then even including the new market that they opened in 2024. It's an interesting story about the heart of agriculture in our community and how they're a part of our community and supporting it every day. I hope you enjoy it and check it out. Well, welcome you all. Thank you so much for coming on. You're with Hardesty Farms and Greenhouses. Why don't you introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background about yourself, and then we'll get into some more of the details as we go.
So my name is Nick Hardesty, and this is my wife, Bethany. We own and operate Hardesty Farms and Greenhouses. We're a diversified operation. Of course, we farm traditional farming, beef cattle. We got about 120 head of beef cattle. Wow. And then, of course, we have our greenhouse operation. That's kind of what we're known for, is our greenhouse operation. 11 greenhouses. We grow tobacco plants, mums, poinsettias, spring flowers, vegetable plants, and then, of course, we have our produce as well.
All kinds of
stuff. It's a little bit there, just a little bit.
Yeah. So it started in 2001, and then it's grown tremendously since then, over almost 25 years, I guess.
It's almost 25 years right now.
In 2001, what was it kind of when it all started? I know I bought my first 2 hogs through 4-H from you, 2 do-rocks, but it's so much more than that now.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. It was originally just supposed to be a FFA project for high school, and I raised 3 acres of tobacco my freshman year of high school, and it just kind of evolved from there. You know, that's when we still had tobacco quotas and bases, and so you had to find somebody to let you grow their crop. And that's kind of where it started. And I guess by my senior year of high school, I raised like 12 acres of tobacco my senior year of high school, and played sports and was an ag. So it kind of just, I was busy.
Yeah.
I didn't have nothing else to do. So
exactly.
But I was the kid, though, that I bought my own vehicle. I paid for it, and I had a nice truck in the school parking lot, and it was was mine.
But you worked for it.
I worked for it, so I earned it. So it wasn't somebody else's money. So but that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, we didn't meet until 2007. And then we fell into kind of the greenhouse operation into the end of 2007, 2008, 2008. So,
because you had purchased kind of that business from somebody, correct?
Yes, it was the guy I'd helped all through college. When I was going to school, I just kind of helped him on my days out of class or whatever, plus done my own farming at that time. And he killed in a tragic hunting accident, and his family came to me and they said, "Hey, we'll let you grow your plants in the greenhouses." And Bethany, I've been dating a grand total of like 3 months. And I said, "Well, why don't y'all just sell them?" And they thought about it, so they did. They sold them to us, and we left them there the first year, and then we moved them the fall of 2008, the first original 4 houses. So it's grown a lot since then.
So for people that maybe don't realize, tobacco plants, you don't put a seed in the ground. They start in a greenhouse, and then they're like super, super tiny seeds.
Yes.
So how many were you growing when all that started?
When we started, it was roughly 1 million transplants. And then once we reached our peak in 2014, 15 as well.
14 is when I quit work.
2015, I guess, maybe 16 was our peak.
Okay.
And we had reached a little over 6 million. So and then tobacco started to take a nosedive again at that point.
Sure.
So it's been kind of a free for all since then. It just kind of keeps twirling down, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just.
And that's when we kind of fell into the flowers, because we saw that decline in tobacco plants. I had quit work in 2014 to run a greenhouse supply business, and then that tobacco started to fall off. So we had to do something different.
Yeah. And that's what, you saw it across Kentucky. So many people had those bases, and then the industry was changing, so they had to think of other things to do. So y'all were kind of, I think, ahead of a lot of those people.
It kind of just all started to fall into place. We quit the tobacco crop, and then we kind of saw that where our money was in the greenhouses. So we decided to stop row cropping. At one point, people thought we were crazy. They thought we were going under. We
were filing bankrupt.
We were thinking ahead. We knew we knew with us being a first generation farm and the debt that we had, we couldn't keep going in the direction we were going. We had to go where the money.
We could see the writing on the wall. I mean, we were traveling 20 miles one direction for ground, and you were getting just 20 or 30 acres here and 20 or 30 acres there. It wasn't feasible. Wasn't feasible.
Rent was going up, equipment costs were going up, and
we saw the writing on the wall, and it's like, okay, we can make an adjustment now instead of waiting until the bank says you got to make an adjustment. Yeah, exactly. So we made that adjustment, and and it was it was a tough adjustment because it's not traditionally what I'd always saw myself doing. Mm-hmm. But if you ever know what's going to happen when you're farming, no, you don't ever know. You never know. Long, but it's not typically what you want. It doesn't work that way, and and that's just a fact of life. But I'm glad we saw the writing on the wall, and we're like, hey, something's got to change. Something's got to. So went from tobacco, then kind of what was the next iteration? When we were in the tobacco, we were raising 25, 30 acres of tobacco ourselves, and then plus growing transplants, and we were starting to row crop at that time. We'd gotten up to about 1,000 acres of corn and soybeans, and it was just that was about the same time Aaliyah said she wanted to plant those tomato plants.
Yeah, she was about 5 years old.
She said we were seeding tobacco or finishing up tobacco, and she said, Dad, I want to seed some tomato plants. So she did 200. So it was a tray. It was one tray. I built her own little float bed, and and we built a little float bed. I think we ended up doing like 4 or 5 trays of different things. And we built that for her, and then when we set tobacco that spring, we left some space along the tobacco patch, and she rode a setter by herself. Somebody kind of walked beside her to kind of help her a little bit, and she set them out herself, and that opened up the can of worms for produce.
Well, but her goal was to buy a sign for her show pigs. So she was the sassy sister show pigs. And she made enough money to buy
her sign. And and that's kind of what started it, That's kind of where the produce. That's kind of where the produce fell in.
Evolved from there. The girls helped pick, and they helped, make money.
And then it's gotten where it's big enough now that it's the girls got their activities and stuff, and they got their animals, and they help with it, but not like they did at one time, just because that they're kids and they got other activities, So it's. And I guess it's been 8 years ago now. No, 7 years ago. That's when we got out of grain farming, and that's when we started growing more produce and started growing more flowers and stuff like that. So and our theory was we had these greenhouses sitting here, and they were sitting empty 9 months out of the year. And it's like, why are we? Good use of it's not good use of your overhead capital. It's not a good use, and so that's when I got the bright idea to let's grow some poinsettias. Let's grow 3,000 of them with no market and see what happens.
I got shingles that first year. It was a little stressful.
We lost several thousands of dollars the first year.
We did, but we learned a lot, and now we've got 3 greenhouses.
Poinsettias are a piece of cake now. They're nothing to us now. I mean, we always thought they were the hardest flower to grow, and they are probably the hardest one we grow.
If you don't have a good chemical plan, they're not.
Yeah, they've got it figured out now. It's no big deal. So how many do you grow now? Almost 9,000. My gosh. And those are going to...
Mostly fundraisers, churches. We have a few florists we sell to.
Lots of local type places there. Yeah, very, very little retail with those that time of the year.
Yeah, we sell a little bit retail, like some regular customers we had every year, but we don't advertise them quite as much as we do tourists.
That's true.
So we're not open. Our market's not open that time of the year. So,
gotcha. So that was kind of the next step, and then you went into spring flowers in 2020. Well, you're COVID. Yeah, you're COVID. How was that? That was probably interesting, wasn't it?
So Nicholas originally built me, a 20 by 20 little PVC greenhouse because he wouldn't let me have any of his tobacco space.
All the tobacco was still pretty full at that point, and I wouldn't let her have any space. And so I built her a little rinky-dink little greenhouse, and and we ended up, we were only open like Friday, Saturdays or something like that.
Yeah.
And we sold everything we had in 3 weekends. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And
we actually sold it out of the barn.
Yep.
But that way there was plenty of distance, and
we done all the social distance stuff, and and then it's a crazy time.
Yeah.
And then continuing through COVID, we built a greenhouse dedicated to flowers. And we built it in the middle of winter, and I know both of us had COVID while we were building it. I could have swore we did, but we just kept fighting through. We knew we had to have it done. So we got it finished, and
That was when we noticed the real decline in tobacco plants.
so it
I
was,
think the next year, or did we ended up
it was the
switching
next
one?
year we switched another house over.
Yes, we lost a whole house of tobacco plants.
You know, we've gradually switched. I mean, at one point, 10 of the 11 greenhouses were tobacco plants. And now we are at 6 with flowers and 5 with tobacco plants.
So the majority of it's flowers.
Over half of it is flowers now.
Yeah. And honestly, we could probably
Use more.
use more space for flowers, but
It's just that much.
tobacco's still holding on, yeah.
Tobacco's still holding on, and I'm going to beat that horse till I can't beat it anymore. I mean, that's what I started with 24 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, and that's what's paid my bills my entire life has been tobacco. You know, a lot of people down tobacco, but, you know, if you look at the farms in this state, in this county, that's what it was based off of. I mean, every farm in Meade County was probably paid for with tobacco at some point in time.
Yep. And had some type of base.
Had some type of base on it, you know, and that's how, when we first bought the farm we live on, that's how we made our farm payment, was tobacco. You know, we didn't have any greenhouses there at that time. They were over at my mom and dad's place. So we were growing tobacco on our home place in order to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, because
That was what so many people did.
yeah, it's what you did.
Yeah.
You know, and it was good. And then it got worse and got worse and gets worse. So
Yeah. And that's when like I said, we had bought a greenhouse supply business in 2014, and we were selling greenhouses and plastics and seed and all that stuff, dirt. And then it was pretty much non-existent. So
the first year was good. The second year was decent. And the third year of it, the whole bottom just fell out of it.
Yeah.
It was just,
so we started selling supplies. So
it gave us some ends on some certain situations, though, that allowed us to expand and grow like we have.
And I always say it kind of was what got me home. So I'm grateful we bought the business, but at the same time, it was terrible at the same time.
I'm like, what have we done?
What have we done? But
really done.
but I'd say that was the push to get me home full time. So
I think I always say, looking back, like, things happen, you may not realize it, but everything happens for a reason.
That's right. Exactly.
Even if it takes 5 years afterwards to figure out, like, wow, that's happened because of that. Like,
right.
you just don't
I
realize.
don't realize until it's over with.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, and I'll be honest, when I lost my dad 9 years ago, we were still grain farming. And if Dad had still been living, we probably would have pushed and fought, and we probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. You know, and it was one of those things we fought for, I guess, 2 years after Dad died. We kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and it was finally like, no, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
You only do so much.
We only do so much. That's right.
So 2024 was a good year. What happened in 2024 for the business?
I'll let you take that.
So we'd always kind of dreamed about having our own place to sell our produce, not going to the farmer's market, not going, you know, with the kids being young, it was really hard every 2 days a week in the summer to pack all the kids up, 3 trucks to the farmer's market. So we decided to build our own market there on the farm. So, and it was,
Prior to that, you had sold out of the barn and done some.
yeah, we just kind of sold out of the barn, and we had a good following before, you know, we've been building it for
People had really been
8-9 years.
It really built it with flowers, especially.
Oh, no. She's down the side.
Yeah, I know.
Son.
You know, so that really built the following originally. That had gone to the farmer's market. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the farmer's market helped us build kind of where we're at. But, you know, when it got to the point to where we were, she mentioned it, 3 trucks. During peak season, we were taking 3 trucks to the farmer's market. You know, and at some point in time, we're like, okay, I got to have 3 drivers. Somebody's going to go sit and twiddle their thumbs.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't fair to our kids either.
You know, it
Really
wasn't fair to
fair
the
to the
kids. And then I guess in 23, we quit farmers markets. We didn't go at all.
Yeah, 20.
We said we weren't going. We're done. We're going to try selling right off the farm. And we did. We sold everything in 23 right off the farm.
And people probably said y'all are crazy again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what are you?
I've been called crazy more than once in my life, and I'm still not done.
Yeah. You just take it as a challenge.
I take it as a challenge, you know. And so then 23, we started kind of towards the end of that year. We're like, okay, we're going to try to build this market. But then when you start doing things that going through ag development, Kentucky Ag Finance, that stuff takes time and it's a process.
Well, and in the midst of all this, Nicholas lost his mom too. Yeah. So we were dealing with that. We decided we had to move all the greenhouses from his mom and dad's farm or house to our place. We built the market. We were in the middle of redoing our house. It was 24 was a lot.
There was a 6-month period there that we gutted and remodeled a house, built 4 greenhouses, and built a farmer's market in 6 months. Somebody was crazy. I'm not sure who it was, but I'm pointing fingers
It wasn't me.
I'm gonna point fingers to my
For the better.
We know that it did. It did. It turned out good.
And you always have that, we don't live close to town, really. We're not that far, but it's like, are people going to come out? Is it, is it going to pay for itself?
But people found it, that's what's so
yeah. And I think people like to come out and be in the country, and, they like to.
People that show up, they're like, I never knew y'all were
They
here.
like to drive by and see where their produce is coming from.
I like to see cows come in and drive.
They like to see our kids, working in the market or, doing.
I know my mom's sisters, they come down from.
Oh, yeah. They make a day out of it.
Like,
yeah,
make a day out
they
of
do.
it, so.
And they're not the only ones. There's a lot of people that do that don't. So one day we counted up, because our computer system kind of keeps track of customers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And we counted up, we figured up, we know we're servicing like a 17 county area.
Wow.
So it's kind of a, and you think, oh, it's all across this side of the river. No, there's a lot from the other side of the river that comes from southern Indiana.
Yep.
They want to do the thing of, hey, let's go check out this greenhouse place. They're your true flower people that they're looking for cream of the crop. They're looking for what goes. They're looking for the specific.
And it amazes me every year how many new customers we get. I mean, through the whole season, the new people walk in and say, "Well, I've never been here before," and you have to tell them about your place.
And it's not
really neat.
really advertising.
No, we don't.
More
really, we don't.
I'm going to say maybe 10% of our customers are new every year, probably.
Yeah,
maybe a little more than that. So it's everybody talks about you're going to put a second driveway in. You're going to apply your driveway. It's like, yeah, I probably am, but that's a long ways from the blacktop. They cost money. So we might take donations, or I'll just build a car wash into the driveway and I'll wash everybody's car as they leave. So but it is what it is.
So, one of the unique things I think, and you kind of touched on it, was it's really a family affair. So you've got the 3 girls. They're involved some, but I think that's what makes agriculture so interesting and unique is it really is a family affair. And the girls are still involved in it some, not as much as they were, you said.
Right.
Kind of tell us about that and the girls.
So really peak season, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's usually 8 or 9 of us peak season running around. After Dad died, 2 of his brothers really stepped up and helped. Dad's oldest brother, Tommy, had retired. His youngest brother also had retired. Uncle Tommy lives here locally, goes to church here in town, and he helps us a lot. He cuts most of our hay through the summer. But I very rarely get a chance to cut hay. I think I've cut 1 field all the year. This year's all I've cut.
Wow.
He's cut the rest of it. And my Uncle David, he actually lives in Georgetown. He retired from Toyota. So he comes down, and we rebuilt those 4 greenhouses last year. He was down almost every week and helped us get those put back up. Then we've got some high school kids, college kids that are either family friends or nieces that help us. That kind of help run the market. And of course, we got our migrant workers.
My middle child, Maylee, she could run the market. She could run the register and everything.
You can do it all.
That's good.
Yeah. And then my guys have been with me forever. I mean, Thomas has been with me 20 years.
Wow.
So I always tease Bethany. He's been around longer than you have.
Yes.
He's been around longer than you have.
Yep.
But we probably couldn't do it without.
I couldn't do those
things.
And those,
Ace with.
And they talk about it being, family. Farms are family most of the time. Those guys are family.
Yeah, they are.
They're family. Thomas has been here almost half of my life, and that goes a long ways. And I guess he's been here over half my life because I'm just 39. Yeah, so he's been here over half my life.
Both of those guys have been here for all of our kids being born, and Thomas was here for the wedding.
Thomas came to our wedding. They
Bottle party.
They had both held all 3 girls as newborn kids. They came to funerals for both Mom and Dad, both. They came to the funeral home and visited, and, so they're just like a brother that I never had, and it's just, I would do anything for them 2 guys.
They've done so much.
They've done so much for us, and they continue to do so much for us, and, and I try to praise them all the time because they've been there so long that they really understand what's going on anymore, and they realize that when one of them gets stuck parking cars for Mother's Day, they realize and they see that line of traffic coming in the road and they're like, okay, boss has done all right this week. Boss has done.
I know. I'll say they know that if we're not doing well, they're not doing well.
They're doing a job.
The work's not there.
You know,
so.
they're not going to have a job.
And
So
like we talked about our kids too. They're involved a lot. They aren't quite as much anymore since they have sports and stuff. But we never try to. We try to keep them involved, but we don't want to push them too hard.
I don't force it down their throat.
No, and we kind of have an idea who will come back and who won't, and that's just part of life. You hope they all do, but that's not always reality.
You said one of the things earlier before, like in the pre-show, faith, family, and desire to provide our community with high quality products. All that plays into that to help provide those products for the community. And talk about maybe how the Kentucky Proud program has helped do that and helped you all, and like what it is for people that don't know. I think a lot of people do, but maybe somebody doesn't, what that program is.
She knows more about the Kentucky Proud side than I do because she's the one that handles it. But now on the flip side of that is the Farm Bureau, Kentucky Farm Bureau roadside markets.
Yep, I've seen that.
That is where they have both been a big benefit to us. They've been a big help. I'm going to say for me, Farm Bureau's been probably a bigger asset for the fact of the network we've built. So I started going to the Young Farmers Convention with Farm Bureau when I was 18 years old. And then when we started dating, we both started going. So you're talking 20-some years of network and building with Farm Bureau, like-minded people, like-minded operations from different parts of the state. But then that's where the Kentucky Proud comes in as well.
It's kind of where Kentucky Proud and Farm Bureau work together because we have that network. But then, the goal of the market was to get as many Kentucky Proud items in the market as possible. Well, with that network from Farm Bureau, we can find stuff that's where we get our local apples and just different things, local pumpkins if we don't have them.
So it kind of fills a gap, and it has allowed us to grow what we are. And Farm Bureau continues to evolve and continue to push the ag tourism and the horticulture side of things because they know it's a big vital part of their Kentucky ag anymore.
And you would be surprised how many people come into the market and they see that Kentucky Proud sticker and they're like, oh, I'm buying that, as opposed to something else that doesn't have that sticker or,
Yep.
I think that's a program that's
it's a symbol.
25 plus years now.
Say 25, 30 years in the making,
And we haven't utilized the grants as much from Kentucky Proud. I need to, but I know there's some really good grants to help with advertising, stuff like that with Kentucky Proud.
So you kind of mentioned in the market that kind of helped fill that. Why don't we talk about what all's in there? I know you have meats, produce, there's all kinds of stuff. It seems like apple butter. I've had the apple butter. It's to die for.
There is all kinds of stuff in the market. Last year the market was kind of bare when we first opened because we didn't get it built until the end of April. We finally got it finished. So the first 2 or 3 weeks we were open last year, we didn't have the building finished.
Yeah.
So once we got it finished, it was kind of just what can we get and throw in here just to kind of fill up space. And then this past winter, we really worked hard. She worked hard with other like-minded markets like we are. And she really, got ideas from them of different Kentucky Proud items, as far as, different Kentucky Proud canned goods that maybe that we don't have, or Kentucky Proud snacks, even Chex Mix type stuff that's Kentucky Proud.
We've got candles. We've got
soaps and
halos. Natives Archtown. I'm working with someplace for caramel apples right now. We have some local meats.
Yep. Freezer beef and pork both. Kentucky Proud ice cream. They're friends of ours that we met through Farm Bureau, actually through college and then Farm Bureau both. And we're selling their pints of ice cream. It is amazing. People love that stuff. And of course we have our produce. Early in the season when our produce isn't in season yet, we've got some connections to get some Kentucky produce, from Southern Kentucky. And that's been a big hit because you're catching people that are there buying flowers and maybe didn't know you had produce. So you're catching those people and kind of pulling them in.
Sure.
And
we'd love for it all to be ours, but that's just not
It's not
feasible. It's not. So we just want to be able to pull in as much local for other people as we can. We know it's value added products that they're going to buy at Kroger or they're going to buy someplace else. Why not just buy it there and help out another farm?
You're helping people with products to eat.
right.
Right.
And you're also helping those other farms that maybe don't have that market or things like that.
Or maybe they grew an excess of squash or excess of cucumbers or, and that's what you look at. And that's the thing with this whole Kentucky Proud and the roadside market is you've built those connections too, as whereof, hey, we're in between rounds of cucumbers at the moment. Do you have 4 or 5 cases to get us through until our next batch is ready next week? Yeah, and that's the purpose of it. It's, you want to keep it as local as you possibly can.
Yeah. And not let something go to waste.
Exactly. And I guess our biggest thing is we've really got into the last year and a half, we've gotten into the school system.
Okay.
They are using a lot of our produce for the summer feed program. And then we also got in with the detention center. JJ Scarborough.
I'm in that way.
Well, yeah. JJ Scarborough called me and we got to talking and we started selling them fresh produce for their inmates this summer. A lot of it they may not use necessarily fresh. They are freezing it to where they have it for the winter. They're using like certain things they're using for tomatoes. They're freezing them to make chili this winter, or they're doing, they're freezing some other items. So it's worked out well. And
It's better than store-bought stuff.
it's better than store-bought stuff. And, and it's just it's a great another asset to have in our community that we're able to give back to the community in a way that, they're able to utilize that stuff, and it's a neat little thing we've added in the last year and a half. So,
We're always adding things. You never know what we're going to do next, obviously.
Somebody calls you.
Here's what he's going to take him next.
Challenge accepted. So fall's here. It's a busy time of year, I know. So tell us kind of what all goes on the farm during fall months.
So we've got mums, pumpkins. Of course, we have a kid area, play area.
She's free. And that play area is free.
Play area is free. We've got a petting zoo there. But when we started doing the pumpkins, I made sure, we live so close to Roberts that I made sure that I don't want to step on any toes. They're great neighbors. They're good neighbors. So I went to Kevin and I said, hey, we're thinking about having pumpkins. And he said, go for it. He said, because you're not doing a corn maze. You're not doing hay rides. We're more servicing your upper middle age people that
don't have kids.
They don't have kids. They don't maybe have grandkids yet per se, and they want to go get mums and pumpkins and corn stalks and straw, but they don't want to go to the pumpkin patch and fight the crowd.
That makes sense.
So that's kind of what we're gauged towards right now. And if you got grandkids, it gives them, grandparents maybe don't want to go to the crowded pumpkin patch, so they can come to our place and go play. It's not an absolute zoo.
And even through the spring season, that's why numerous parents will say, we like coming here because we know they're safe. They're up there, everything, they can see everything. There's not a huge crowd, and they can just let them run. So
he has to get that experience.
Yeah, right. They get that farm experience. Yes,
It's so important too today.
It is.
He likes to watch the cows come in the road, and it's just something different.
It's something different, and fall's not our biggest season, but it is a big season. I'm going to say, of course, spring is our biggest. Fall and summer are pretty close neck to neck.
Yeah.
Summer's just so spread out.
Pretty big.
Fall gets shoved together pretty tight. So it makes it seem like you're busier, but really it's not, because you're in a 6-week window versus a 12-week window through the summer. So, it kind of makes it a little bit different, but it is. It's a good season. We're always glad when it's over.
It's not bad.
Because it kind of gives us a little.
It's our wrap-up season, so
kind of gives us a breather, So but we have challenging falls. Seems like the last few falls have been dry, so it's like it'd be nice if it would rain on occasion.
Exactly.
So
you can't really grow pumpkins in a greenhouse, I guess.
No, don't work real well that way. That doesn't work real well. So but that's kind of what we've got in the fall, and of course she's got some vendors set up for the weekend.
Yeah, through September we have a few. I think the Hooberies is coming one weekend, and then smoothies, y'all, and then we have a little entrepreneur, like I think they're I don't even know how old the kids are, but it's a homeschool group, and they make their own crafts, and they're going to be set up the first weekend in September. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and you can kind of check out Facebook and see I'll have that all listed. Yeah.
So kind of just wrap things up, like obviously you're always growing, but anything coming that you want to let people know about, or their dreams, or what we want to keep that under a...
There's dreams. There's dreams. There is dreams. There are, and I think some of those dreams are going to possibly wait until the girls are old enough to decide
what they want to do.
Yeah. I know one of the things, like, I'm certified I can make breads and stuff like that. It's a challenge having it at the house whenever I'm at the barn all day. So I'd like to just have a small kitchen, nothing crazy commercial, but just where I can do my breads and all that up there. So that might be coming in the future, but
and I think if there's another big expansion, it'll be once our girls are older.
yeah.
And I've always said that, I'm done. When we built the last greenhouse we built during COVID, not the four we rebuilt, because we already had those houses, but after we built the last house during COVID, I said I was done.
I'm like, I think I'm cutting him off.
And at this point right now, I think we are done until, like I say, the girls decide
What the next step might be.
But that doesn't mean that we're not going to still expand in certain areas, because like I said, we've still got 5 houses to Draco plants. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years with that? So we'll have to do something in those houses. We just don't know what it'll be yet.
It's just, it's a evolving thing.
Yeah, that's how
and I hope one of my girls comes back, and it's always been one of my biggest goals is for one of the girls to come back.
That's one of the reasons why we thought the market would be a good idea, because if they don't want to do traditional farming, the market's there. The flowers are there. It's something they might be interested in. So,
okay. Well, for people that don't know where you're at, tell us where you're located at.
You got it. Let me go.
We're at 7200 Highway 79 in Guston. We're about 2.5 miles outside of Midway if you're coming from Brandenburg.
Sure.
And about 3 miles from Irvington on 79.
Okay.
So.
And then most hours kind of during the fall, typically?
So seasonal hours usually are Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 5.
Weekdays.
Weekdays and 10 to 5. Saturdays are in the spring are 9 to 5, and during the summer are 9 to 2. Fall I find fall will be 9 to 2. Now we're closed Sundays and Mondays. Sure. Sundays are days you're supposed to be closed, and Mondays are days for things like this. Yeah.
Adjust them, doctor's appointments.
Exactly. So it's a little bit of sanity we have.
Yep. Anything else y'all want to talk about? We'll wrap things up.
I guess so. Come see us, support local. Yeah. Whether it's us or robbers or whoever, support local.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what this community does so well, is they really rally around local.
Oh, yeah. We couldn't do it without the community, that's for sure.
Communities made a big difference.
Yeah. Word of mouth. If we can't come by from us, just share our post and tell people about us. Yep.
People about us. Yep. So it's if you can't find us, just look us up. We're everywhere. You can find us anywhere, pretty much online. So Google it, you'll find us. So yep. But no, it's about it, I guess. Really.
All right. Well, thank y'all for coming on, and I hope thank you to grow, and we appreciate it. See what comes next.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So you've got a cool story to tell. Something about our community that makes it strong and unique. You have a business. Someone that has a really cool story about the history of our community or anything else. Well, we want to tell that story on the podcast. So do us a favor and visit smalltownboldstories.com so that we can tell that story next and you get to hear it. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Small Town Bold Stories podcast, brought to you by Next Home Chisholm Realty. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll catch you next time with more bold stories from the heart of our hometowns.